Welcome back to Fixity Fix. This is an update for the 944 hatch delamination fix. It's been, what, 2 weeks?
Probably, yeah.
About 2 weeks. We just took it out for the first shakedown. What did you think, Sarah?
Fixity Fix!
It was so much quieter.
Quieter was the first thing that stood out. The hatch was just making more noise than we realized. What else did you notice? How did it look?
Very clean. Looks just... Whoops. Looks good back there.
Yeah, looks good up here.
What would you add?
The quietness was a huge surprise. It made a giant difference going over bumps and just driving down the road. It's one of those things. You ever change your oil and it seems like your car runs better? I know that's purely psychological, but it was one of those things where it just seemed to run better.
Yeah, I agree.
Probably because there wasn't all that noise and it just created some confidence. Let's take a little look around the outside.
Ooh, all right.
Make sure the car doesn't roll back down the hill. That would kind of suck. Hey, we just fixed it. Bye. All right, here it is from the driver's side. Looking good across the top. A couple of little pieces of tape here and there to clean up. When I was drilling the holes to put the spoiler and aerodynamic trim back on, I was having to pull off little bits of the new urethane, and it was nearly impossible unless I used a knife and or a drill bit to pull off even the smallest pieces of urethane. So it truly inspires confidence. You can see I don't have struts in here, and I'm not going to put struts in for at least a few months, if at all. I might even do an exciting new project for a new video on it, but this is really inspiring confidence. It's holding up great. I was able to get the hatch adjusted to work properly, which is, if you look at NC944's channel, he's got a great video on how to do that, but it worked so much better now that everything is flush and trim and holding together the way it should be. What grade would you give it, Sarah?
A+.
Whoa, that's a little high. Maybe a 94, 95.
Okay, so a straight A.
And we'll check it again in a few months, and hopefully it doesn't go sploink.
Yes.
I got some valuable feedback on RenList and on Facebook 944 Owners Forums about this piece of trim, and most people said they would have taken it off in order to replace the window and the glass and to paint it. In hindsight, I would like to try that. I didn't before because I was just worried that prying it off, you can just pry it off on each of these ears here with a little screwdriver and then fold it up, pull it off. I was worried about the risk of bending it, and also I wanted it here to hold the glass down to create less need for clamping. If I do another one of these hatches in the future, I will likely try it that way to see how it goes. Having the hatch all apart and the aerodynamic parts off of it was an excellent opportunity to get those cleaned up, and I continue to be happy with how well this particular Meguiar's marine product works on the rubber parts of this car and our other cars. Any of the weather stripping, it helps keep it healthy. One of the bolts in this piece of aerodynamic trim has become separated and spins freely inside the trim, and I know that's going to cause me difficulty when I put this thing back together. So the fix I've come up with is to just grind with a Dremel tool a little slot in the tip of the bolt head so that when I'm putting it in, I can start a replacement nut, in this case an M4.07 nut, onto the end, and then hold the screwdriver into the slot I'm about to make and tighten down the nut. It's important to note that I'll be replacing this odd little nut that comes off with just a standard hexagonal nut so that I can tighten it when I have the screwdriver into the slot I'm about to make. So a little before and a whole lot of after. That should be just enough to be able to hold that bolt down tight while I tighten the nut onto it once it's in the car. All right, that thread's on just fine. We're back in business. In the comments, one viewer requested that I spend some time with the camera on the products I used. So you can see the oscillating tool and the toolkit. There will be links for all these tools via Amazon in the comments below. And then the little Dremel sanders. I used the green ones. I ran out, so there's no more green ones in this bag. One of the key products was sanding using this Eastwood pre-prep, sanding again using the Eastwood pre-prep, sanding with a finer grit and then using pre-prep again. Cleanliness was probably the biggest factor of success here. And another important part was using 2-part epoxy primer on bare aluminum. And after the primer fully sets for 3 days or more, it's time to use this 3M primer, applying it with these dauber brushes. 3M catalog number 08682. I did also paint any of the parts where glass or urethane wasn't going to be in contact with it. I painted the frame with hot rod black satin 2-part epoxy that went over this primer. And again, I scuffed up the primer before I painted it because I had to let the primer fully cure. And then finally, for the spoiler and the other rubber pieces, I cleaned everything with soap and water, scrubbed it until it was very clean, and then hit it with Extreme Marine. I did go ahead and run caps and dies through and around any fasteners, and that seemed to make the job go a whole lot more easily. I needed new fasteners. I think I needed maybe 3 or 4 replacement fasteners, and this kit did the trick. Links in the description. As always, I appreciate you watching. If you find this kind of thing helpful, please consider giving this video a like and even subscribing to Fixity Fix. Hit that bell at the bottom if you want to be notified when a new video drops. See you next time.